Hello folks from the railroad in the basement and the cluttered workbench. I'm going to give you a quick tour on a little bit of fiddly bits on a very small engine here. Now what you see in front of you here is a late 1960s United Climax. It's a brass engine. You don't see too many of them anymore, but they've been around for a long time. This one has been updated to include sound. We use the Soundtrack's TSU 1100 in this guy. It also has its full lighting, which means headlight and backup light. This engine doesn't typically get a whole lot of fancy stuff on it. I see I've banged into my whistle there just a little bit. Let's straighten that up while we're doing this. There we go. That's better. This is a very, very detailed engine. United did a very nice job with it. Well, they were the importer, I should say. The original manufacturer did a great job on it. When I got this one, it was already in this paint scheme, so I did not have to paint it. It was, however, with a very old open frame motor, which tend to be a little bit high amperage. We don't really like high amperage in this hobby, so we got rid of that guy. Even with magnet updates, it didn't do too great. And we converted it over to DCC, and you'll see I just turned the headlight on. We'll turn it back off too. There we go. And it's converted over to DCC and sound. It runs extremely well. Due to its size, it's one of the few engines in my collection that does not have a capacitor pack for dirty track spots or whatever. Now, but what I want to show you is the headlight. This is where we're interested today, because this is a trick you may find useful on older engines and things you don't want to cut holes into. So here we have the headlight here. Get you a little zoom in on this guy if it'll let me. Doesn't seem to want to let me, but I'll point it out anyway. So here's the headlight, and you'll notice that there's a little tiny wire right here in front of it, and what looks to be an LED right there. Now, just to give you an idea of scale, there's my thumb. Okay? No, I don't have polish on. I just have a naturally shiny thumb. But that is an LED mounted right on the front of it there, and it's firing into the lens that was already there when I got the engine. That's probably an MV Products lens. Of course, they're out of business, sadly, because I need about 300 of their products, and I can't find them hardly. But this does a very good job of creating an arc light style headlamp. Now, what that means is the light emission is fired back into the lens and then refocused out. If I turn it back on, you'll see it's quite bright. Now, the only drawback to this is it does have a lot of side flow that a regular headlight really wouldn't have, but that's somewhat unavoidable at this stage of the game where we don't want to cut into an existing, an older model, maybe one that's fairly rare and quite frankly fairly valuable. You don't want to cut into those if you can avoid it. So this leaves the model entirely intact and does not give it any type of holes added to it that might do a little damage to its value down the road. And for some folks, it doesn't matter if there's an extra hole. If it works, it works. That's all there is to it. The headlight's on the other end, of course. It too does work. We'll just flip it into reverse. I'll put my hand back here. You can see how bright that is. It does work out. It's the same layout. They'll blow the cylinders out every now and again. The engine's control, the motor is now a precision scale motor that I picked up from them that fits into the same place as the original, and it works very, very well. Let's give it a little bit of backup just so you can see how slow this guy will move. And this is on a dirty track, so it might stall or it might fool me. Okay, there we go, nice and neat. Climax engines were not what you would call fast, not in any form of the word. They were designed for torque and getting amount of goods from point A to point B without trying too hard. And they worked. They worked on rough track, they worked on smooth track, they worked on whatever track you threw them on. Very successful design. Very, very successful. Weren't not near as famous as the Shays. Of course, even that was kind of there's a whole story there that we won't dive into at the moment, but even the Shays were kind of they were somebody else's design to start with before they were called Shays. Now this one's also been modified underneath, which I'm going to go ahead and kill the light and pick it up so you can see what's underneath real quick. This one's been modified underneath so that it has pickup from all 8 wheels instead of just the 2 on the front and 2 on the back. Now, I'll grant you up front, that's not horrendously pretty. It's just not. What that is a blue piece of painter's tape, which looks like it might need a little better attaching. And that is a KD number 5 centering spring with a wire added to it, and its spring points folded so that they make good contact. We did the same thing on the front as we did on the back to get opposite connection. There you go. Does it look terribly pretty from the bottom? No, absolutely does not. Does it work? The answer is yes, it does, very neatly. And I'm sure somebody with a little bit better toolkit than what I've got, and maybe a touch more patience, because Lord knows everybody's got that, will come up with a better solution than I did to get that same effect. And that's one of the reasons this engine will run without a capacitor pack. So if you see one of these and you think, man, that's nice, but it's so out of date for my railroad and its technology is so old, don't sweat it. You can turn it into a modern day engine with a little bit of patience and a bit of work. From the railroad in the basement and the cluttered workbench, y'all have a great evening.